Today we're going to talk about transitions. We're going to look at transitioning between paragraphs and transitions between sentences. Transitions are important because they build cohesion and structure within your argument. So let's begin. So why do we use transitions? Just as I said, transitions help provide overall cohesion. And when we think of cohesion, we're thinking of the same root as cohesive. So we're thinking of something that's kind of stuck together. So we want to layer our essay so that everything is supporting the thesis. And that way, everything is connected. The essay works as one complete unit or one complete argument. Some call this flow. Um, when we're flowing in between paragraphs, that means we're seeing some type of connection between them. One of the reasons, as I've said, that we want to use transitions is to provide that focus. So we think of the thesis, and the thesis is our main argument. Like I said, we want to maybe write down that thesis on a 3x5 card, compare it to every paragraph, but we can still get these clunky or separated paragraphs that really have no alignment with one another. So a transition is going to help us move in that linear structure or move in a line from the thesis down to the end of our body paragraphs. We really are looking at creating something that moves in a straight or direct fashion. Now, transition can also show the relationship from one paragraph to the next. This could also be from sentence to sentence. We think of a paragraph in which we have a sentence that might be a point that we're making or a piece of evidence, and then we move to the next piece of evidence or next point. We want to do the same thing in our paragraphs. They should all be united. They should all be moving towards supporting that thesis. So we want to see the relationship between them. Let's look at an example here. Clowns are often seen wearing a particular attire. Oversized shoes and bow ties are required, as well as a prop such as a seltzer bottle or rubber chicken. Also oversized are the pants, requiring brightly colored suspenders to hold them up. Finally, all of these extra large articles of clothing are contrasted with a tiny hat to be slightly tilted upon the head. Alcoholism is prevalent among professional clowns, and suicides are common. Did that feel clunky or awkward as we move to that next paragraph? It should feel awkward because the first paragraph is really kind of lighthearted. It's talking about their costuming. And so we're not seeing really anything that indicates something negative within this essay. And then we get into alcoholism and suicide, very clunky in the way that we transition. So we want to think of maybe a transition strategy that will help move from one paragraph to the next. Now, in this one, a strategy might be a term like however, or we might say despite this pleasant outside or pleasant, exterior, we're seeing a darker interior. And so we want to maybe show that contrast here. So there are various transition strategies that we can use. The first one is that we can repeat keywords. So if we're looking at the last sentence of paragraph 1, we want to repeat a keyword from that sentence into paragraph 2. So let me give you an example here. If we look at something like this, with the right legislation, firearm fatalities can be greatly lowered. We look at what keyword can I bring over into the first sentence of that next paragraph. I could say fatalities can also be avoided with proper gun safety and storage. Okay, so I'm carrying over fatalities because I want to link those paragraphs in some way. And so fatalities is the way that I'm doing it. Other transition strategies, we can use synonyms. So if we're carrying over the same keyword over and over and over, we might want to change and use a synonym instead. So we look at a paragraph that ends with this sentence. If truck drivers are burdened with more and more restrictions, the cost of goods will likely rise. I maybe have carried over keyword too many times and I'm using a word too many times. And so I don't want to reuse that word. Maybe I'll use a synonym instead. So in this case, I put, in addition to being saddled with regulations, uh, so you can see that I'm actually using two. I'm using saddled instead of burdened and regulations instead of restrictions. Truck drivers are dealing with safety issues that were non-existent a decade ago. So now I'm moving into a new idea or a new minor claim in this topic sentence, but I'm carrying over a little bit from the previous one into this one.